right.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm going to provide a few laboratory remarks, and then we'll hand it off to 3 Jewish students and members of Columbia University Apartheid Divest, So, Sarah, and Leah. We will end by handing off to Mariana Hirsch, a faculty member at Columbia and member of the American Association of University Professors. Right now, Israel is brutally bombing and starving millions of Palestinians in Gaza, killing children.
Facing cameras.
Yes, sorry. Right now, Israel is brutally bombing and starving millions of Palestinians in Gaza, killing children, bombing homes, hospitals, and universities, murdering thousands of young students just like us. We are here today as Jewish Columbia and Barnard students who were arrested and suspended for peacefully protesting in support of Palestinian freedom on Thursday, April 18th. The students will be providing updates and answering questions on the ongoing Gaza Solidarity protest on the campus West Lawn. Hundreds of us have been holding a peaceful protest on the lawn since April 17th. As students at Columbia, we have 3 demands. Divest all finances, including the endowment, from corporations that profit from Israeli apartheid, genocide, and occupation in Palestine. 2, provide financial transparency of all investments. And 3, ensure amnesty for all students and faculty arrested, disciplined, or fired in connection with the movement for Palestinian liberation. Last night, on Monday, April 22nd, Jewish students at Columbia participating in the Gaza Solidarity protest held a Passover Seder on the central campus West Lawn. We gathered to share a meal, pray, sing, and tell stories in observance of Passover, a Jewish holiday commemorating freedom from oppression. Students held signs that said Pesach means solidarity and liberation, and Jews for a free Palestine, reading from a special Haggadah written in solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza. The students have much more to say than I do. I'm one of them, but they have more to continue the conversation, so I will now hand the mic to our first speaker, So, a Jewish student at Barnard, to make their remarks.
Do you mind scooting over so you can step behind the mic? Thank you. Thank you so much.
We stand here before you today to speak to our truth as Jewish students alongside our Palestinian friends and allies. The truth. The moment NYPD's SRG unit emerged, zip ties in hand, at the beck and call of Columbia President Manoush Shafiq, our university normalized the use of violence to silence political dissent. In the midst of the militarized violence Columbia University invited, we must reaffirm the mission and principles of our movement. As we launched our Gaza Solidarity Encampment, Jewish students, including myself, gathered together and said the Shehecheyanu, the Jewish prayer used to mark joyous occasions. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of all, who has kept us alive, sustained us, and brought us to this season. Because we indeed are blessed. As the media spins language of violence and ignores our story, they reveal their ignorance of the reality of Jewish life by portraying the Jewish people as a monolith and erasing the stories of the thousands of us fighting for a free Palestine. When I was marched out of the encampment in zip ties, I did not flinch. I walked into a space of love and joy, of solidarity and liberation, expecting to be met with violence by the institution I call home, simply because I cannot and could not stand to be complicit in our university's ongoing support for Israel's genocidal campaign. There are no universities left in Gaza, so we chose to reclaim our university for the people of Palestine. We did so in the spirit of Rafat al-Arir, who reposted one of our protests just days before his slaughter. He said, "If I must die, you must live to tell my story. If I must die, let it bring hope. Let it be a tale." I was taught to always honor those who came before us, and I will fight to tell his story. Today marks 200 days since the beginning of Israel's genocidal campaign against the Palestinian people. When I linked arms with my peers, watching the right police swarm us, singing, "Where you go, I will go, my friend, because your people are my people, our struggles align," I remembered my bat mitzvah speech about God giving our people the 10 Commandments on Mount Sinai. I asked, Will you hear my message? Will you hear God's message? And I ask this to each and every one of you. Will you hear our message of solidarity as we enter the 200th day? Will you listen when I tell you that my Judaism is one of Tikkun Olam, repairing the world? Will you listen when I tell you to listen to those who represent our movement and those who stand in solidarity with it? Will you see our shared commitments to value all identities, all stories, and fight all forms of bigotry and hatred? Will you listen to our truth, or the truth of those who call us kapos, Judenrat, and dishonor our ancestors? Will you listen to the truth of those in Gaza, those who we fight for? Will you let Rafat's story be a tale? I speak to you during Passover, reminded of the legacy and bravery of our people against insurmountable odds, as well as the bigotry and violence we and our peers have faced, to tell you my story. I entered the Gaza Solidarity Encampment with my friends, peers, and allies, and became a student and a teacher. On the first day of the encampment, I hung the banners I painted painstakingly for weeks. I shared meals with my friends, read messages from my loved ones, listened to a Columbia professor teach me about the anti-apartheid movement, taught my peers about the meanings behind my prayers, and basked in the love of my community. While so many members of my Jewish community attempt to vilify me and the movement I stand a part of, I built a new community with my friends inside this camp. We built a new community. And as we built it, we committed to fighting all forms of oppression together, knowing that anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and racism, in particular racism against Arabs and Palestinians, are all cut from the same cloth. I ask the White House, Jewish members of Congress, and all those who speak on behalf of Jewish safety and the Jewish people to listen and hear our message, to hear the guidelines of our community. Come see our camp. Come to a Shabbat. Come break bread with us, or this week, break some matzah. Thank you.
Before you go, were you suspended from campus, and what were you actually arrested for?
Yes, so I was suspended from campus 3 hours before my arrest, along with 2 others of my peers, because I have been a vocal Jewish voice in the Solidarity movement since early this year, and I was arrested on a violation for trespassing on my own campus.
Can you say your first and last? Guys, can we spell your name? Or just your name? Can you spell it as well?
SOPH, which is my preferred name, and I will go by ASKANASE.
And can you pronounce it?
Soph Askanase.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, we're gonna do questions
They have
afterwards.
pronouns.
We're gonna do, thank you. We're gonna do questions afterwards.
You will identify
If
yourself.
each
Yeah,
speaker
so-
would give that information, then
Of
questions
course.
wouldn't be a problem.
So the next speaker is Sarah, a student at Barnard College, and all the speakers today were arrested and suspended from campus.
How many days were they suspended for?
It's indefinite, an interim suspension, indefinite.
My name is Sarah. That's spelled S-A-R-A-H. She, her pronouns. As I was preparing my Torah portion for my bat mitzvah, my father set aside time to teach me the anthem Solidarity Forever. It was an important lesson for any Jewish adult. He and my mother made sure that I knew being Jewish meant to join together with other oppressed people, because only collective liberation will keep us safe. That lesson of solidarity always extended to solidarity with the people of Palestine. The Gaza Solidarity Encampment is a reflection of the Jewish tradition of togetherness and liberation. I have never felt more proud to be Jewish and more in line with the values of my faith than when I was being taken out of Columbia's lawns with my hands zip-tied behind my back, alongside 107 other students, risking safety and suspension in order to push our university to divest from genocide, apartheid, and occupation in Palestine. In zip ties, I walked in the path of my Jewish ancestors, like my great-grandfather, who was part of the 1905 Russian Revolution. Like other Jews under the Tsarist regime, he was confined to the Pale of Settlement and experienced the constant threat of pogroms and the brutality of state violence. He risked his life to fight for a better world. I cannot, in good faith, honor his memory and ignore the checkpoints, the bombs, and the settler violence that Palestinians are subject to every single day. My college administration, my representatives in Congress, and my own president have continually acted as spokespeople for the Jewish community, equating anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism. They silence us, suspend us, create barriers for us to practice our faith so that they can say that we are a fringe group or that we're not real Jews. But I know, we know, my family knows that anti-Zionist Jews have existed as long as Zionism has. From the Labor Bund to the Israeli Black Panthers, Jews have denied the notion that any form of nationalism can keep us safe. We have continually had to defend our religious identities, even when there's a long tradition behind them. We stand here before you to say, clearly, that this is a distraction. More than 30,000 Palestinians are dead, and 85% of the population of Gaza displaced. Our university profits off of this genocide, and as Jews, we will continue to fight until Columbia divests. Thank you.
Sarah, what's your last name?
Borus, B-O-R-U-S.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone. So our next speaker is Leah, L-E-A, and I misspoke before, they were suspended but not arrested. They're gonna come speak to us.
When I, as an Iranian Jewish daughter of 3 generations of genocide survivors, stand shoulder to shoulder with my Palestinian peers, chanting, it is because I feel their struggle in the struggle of my ancestors. I am risking my livelihood, my status in this country, and the respect and support of my family to fight for Palestine because I know, based on my entire upbringing and my education, that this is the justice my ancestors were calling for, the justice their struggles have necessitated. I spent my entire life reckoning with the trauma that has been passed down through my ancestry. I spent my entire life, but all I know is that the answer to generational trauma is not the subjugation and dehumanization of another traumatized people in our name. I see the trauma of Palestinians mirrored in my own family's experiences, recognizing it as part of the same exact system. I see that the same pain that we are witnessing now is not the fault of any of us. Witnessing the trauma of Palestinians is excruciating, especially when recognizing how our own families have been complicit in perpetuating a distortive narrative and revisionist history whereby Palestinians are made to be our aggressors because they have been subjugated to the same repression that our Jewish ancestors have been for generations. There is so much deep-seated grief in Jewish communities, but we cannot allow the slaughter of another people as a result of this generational trauma. This is not a game to us. It is the most serious matter. When people label us a blind, violent mob, when people call us capos, when they say that we will be on the last train to Auschwitz, it means dividing me, ripping me from my identity. It means reducing Judaism down to some rich guy's political agenda. It means telling me that my existence is inherently isolating when I cannot and refuse to ignore the legacy of my ancestry, and neither will my Palestinian brothers and sisters. I urge you to see my experience. No matter how hard the president's PR campaign and the state of Israel tries to pretend, I am the Jewish future. As someone who was taught to love the state of Israel from my birth, this is what unlearning generational trauma looks like. I am an inconvenience to the PR campaign that is the state of Israel. Allowing ourselves to envision alternative Jewish futures is terrifying, but it is the only option. I will not let my Jewish community stay silent in the face of this point in our history. Dehumanization, exile, and genocide have no religion, have no race, and have no logic. I have woken up to the urgency, and I believe that all Jews everywhere must do the same. Palestinian solidarity is inevitable and necessary to salvage life, to preserve culture, to uphold generations, and to put an end to this excruciating generational trauma where every side loses. More than 15 Jewish students were arrested, suspended, and evicted as punishment for protesting on their own campus, for singing songs of love and liberation, for Columbia's divestment in a free Palestine. We, as Jewish students, have willingly and proudly put everything we have on the line because our vision is unclouded. We understand the immense and profound interconnectedness of it all, of us all. We grasp with unwavering clarity that the only possible Jewish future lies in unmoving solidarity with Palestine.
Leo, what's your last name?
Can you spell your first name?
Leah is L-E-A, and I think that they don't want to share their last name.
Hey, can you spell his last name?
So you.
Help us out here.
Thank you.
It's very Jewish, sorry.
Very Jewish.
A-S-K-A-N-A-S-E.
A-S-K-A-N.
A-S-E.
And S-A-Q.
Thank you. And just to clarify, so and Sarah, you were both arrested.
Yeah.
And Leah was not arrested but suspended.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we're going to hear briefly from Mahmoud, M-A-H-M-O-U-D. Mahmoud. Mahmoud is a student at Columbia and a member of the Palestinian community here.
Thank you, everyone. I will make a very brief comment. We are here to affirm that we believe that the struggle to achieve liberation, Palestinian and Jewish liberation, is intertwined and goes hand by hand. And after all, this is a movement of equality, social justice, and liberation for Palestine and the rest of the world. Thank you.
Columbia administrators gave a press conference and they said that you guys have been in talks with the administration until 2 a.m. trying to come to a resolution. Is anybody able to speak to how that is going on your side of
We can comment on that at the end. We have one last speaker.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought...
No worries, no worries. We're all figuring this out as we go. We have one last speaker. Professor Mariana Hirsch is a professor here at Columbia University and a member of AAUP, or the American Association of University Professors.
Good afternoon. My name is Mariana Hirsch, M-A-R-I-A-N-N-E-H-I-R-S-C-H. I'm here to speak as a faculty member at Columbia University, and specifically as a Jewish faculty member. One of my fields of specialization is Holocaust studies, and I am myself a daughter of Holocaust survivors. I'm extremely concerned about anti-Semitism. I have been my entire life. And I'm extremely distressed right now to see how anti-Semitism is being weaponized and misused in the under the guise of safety and security, but actually in the interest of shutting down academic freedom, free debate, critical thinking, and the openness and the independence of higher education and universities in the United States right now. Squashing peaceful protest, squashing open debate, not allowing students to express their opinions and to debate their opinions, bringing armed police onto campus, surrounding the campus by gates and armed police, creates an atmosphere, arresting students, suspending them, creates an atmosphere of fear and intimidation in which some people are afraid to tell you their names. This is not what the university is about. This amplifies divisions among students, among Jewish students, among students of all kinds at our university. We are a very multicultural, diverse community, and each of the identity categories that we have here is in itself diverse. We have, as you can see, we have many Jewish students who are part of the protest movement, and we are afraid that their voices are not heard. I think that weaponizing anti-Semitism in this way, singling out Jewish students, only certain Jewish students who are expressing fear that's being amplified and being promoted from the outside is a way of, is not making Jewish students or faculty or Jews in this country safe. On the contrary, it is promoting further division and probably further anti-Semitism. As a member of the American Association of University Professors, I would like to read the declaration that we all adopted yesterday, the AAUP chapters at Barnard and Columbia. We condemn in the strongest possible terms the administration's suspension of students engaged in peaceful protest and their arrest by the New York City Police Department. These acts violate the letter and the spirit of the university statutes, shared governance, students' rights, and the university's absolute obligation to defend students' freedom of speech and to ensure their safety. We demand that all Barnard College and Columbia University suspensions and charges be dismissed immediately and expunged from the students' records, and that all rights and privileges be restored to them immediately. Last, we demand that no disciplinary action be taken against any student protesters without due process, and that no police be permitted on campus without serious consultation with the Executive Committee of the University Senate. And please let's not forget that this is a movement that's a political movement. It criticizes the state of Israel. It is not directed against an identity, which is Jewishness, or a faith, which is Jewishness. It is directed at a state. We cannot be a sustainable educational institution if we're not allowed to criticize states, including our own state. Thank you.